Alrighty guys, welcome back to Star Wars Review. Today I'm reviewing Star Wars The Bad Batch Season 1 Episode 2 Cut and Run, which was directed by Stuart Lee and written by Cimarron Sandhu. I don't know how to pronounce her name. I probably should have looked it up. But anyways, it was released on May 7th, 2021. So yeah, I thought it was another good episode. Obviously, this episode wasn't anywhere near as long as the first episode and wasn't able to do as much as the first episode, but it still did stuff. And the episode was really definitely based around Hunter and Omega and their relationship, and as a sort of father-daughter relationship and whatnot, and that being challenged in a big way and whatnot. In this episode, Bad Batch head to Seleucami, which is where in Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 2, I forget which episode it was, Rex was met the clone deserter Cut Lawquane, and that's what exactly the Bad Batch do. They meet him. So yeah, and he's a clone, deserted, and is living there with his family, his two adoptive children, which the reason he was there is to kind of show Hunter that he can be more than a soldier and be a father figure for Omega. Even though there's some bumps along the way, I really like that element of the episode. Obviously they told it, obviously there's a lot of weird tropes and whatnot with that kind of storytelling. Some of it's nothing really new, but I liked how it was portrayed in this episode. But also it's cool to see Cut Lawquane and his family again after Clone Wars and whatnot. Also just how quick the transition from the Republic to the Empire is. You see this new Imperial Vice Admiral named Rampart, which he was named in the credits, but because he was named, seems like he might become a bigger character, another Imperial villain, even though we already have Tarkin, but another one definitely if Tarkin isn't the main villain for the entire series, but also talking about Omega again, I really liked how they've shown her seeing the galaxy for the first time, and this episode and the end of the first episode, it's very cute and just captures the wonder of a child. I just really love those moments we see in this episode. Also, her theme is really great. Kind of sounds like themes from the Lord of the Rings trilogy. Gives me vibes of that, I guess, a little. But obviously Kevin Kiner's score so far has been great. Just all of his recent Star Wars stuff of stuff near the end of Rebels, the Clone Wars Season 7, and how the Bad Batch has been very, very good. But also, once again, the animation visuals are extremely good also. So I enjoyed the episode. I guess I'll do a breakdown for it now. Which the episode starts with the Bad Batch arriving on Seleucami. And when Omega leaves the ship, she's just in awe of the place. Like, she goes to the ground, starts messing with the dirt and whatnot, and she asks what it is, which Tech responds by saying that would be dirt, which I just thought that was a really funny response, because it's dirt. But then they start to head to Cut's place through this crop field, and once again we see Omega being in awe of it and whatnot. But Echo asks who they're heading to, and Tech and Hunter tell him about, you know, how they're heading to a deserter who's, been living off the grid for a while, and he's the best person to learn how to do that. And Echo, responds by saying, you trust the deserter, which, Tech says, why not? We're all deserters now. Which then, we see it just hit Echo, that, that revelation to him, his eyes get all big and whatnot. He's just like, oh, wow. But then they arrive at, well, actually, I don't think they arrived at Cut's house. They get to some, like, booby trap, and, Hunter stops them all, but then Wrecker just, walks in and triggers the trap, but then Cut and his wife Sue come up, and then they head inside to their house where they talk about stuff. And Cut mentioned that he had talked to Rex the other day, because I guess Rex went to Salukami and whatnot. And I guess Rex told Cut about how the clones were turning on the Jedi and whatnot. He says he doesn't know where he went, but he was talking about some behavioral implant, which Omega then chimes in and says, must be the inhibitor chip. Which then Hunter asks, Tech why he didn't mention any chip, which, smarty pants Tech, is like, well, how else did you think it worked? Talking about like the clones being programmed and whatnot. But then Cut's kids walk in, and, they see Omega and get Omega to go outside and play with them, which, Hunter allows Omega to do. But then, we see Hunter watching over them, and then Cut comes up to asks him about Omega and whatnot. And Hunter says, she's a, genetically modified clone like them. Which Cut says, she must have more purpose to her and whatnot, like, the rest of the Bad Batch. But Hunter says, it doesn't matter, and she's just a kid, and, they need to get her off Camino and whatnot. But, Cut and talks about how, battling droids is much easier than raising a child. And then, he goes on and talks about how Salukami isn't safe for them anymore, and, that they're planning on leaving. And so then we see Hunter and Cut head into town, where Cut tries to buy his way off the planet, but they both learn, how quick the Empire is bringing change to the galaxy, because Cut needs a chain code to get access to a transport and whatnot. And then we see this hologram of this guy, Vice Admiral Rampart, talking about, how great the Empire is, and these chain codes are going to be so good and whatnot. And then Hunter and Cut see firsthand someone being treated badly for not having a chain code, and learn that's just not the ships but people too. Then we see Omega and Cut's kids still playing, and Omega throws like the ball over the fence, and they tell her just to leave, it's too dangerous. And then they start to head back inside, but Omega decides to walk over and grab the ball, but then this I believe it's a Nexu comes up and after her, which then Hunter, Cut, and Sue have to come out and save her, which they do. And then Hunter starts to get angry with her, but Cut tells him that she's not a soldier, which then we see Cut comfort her and take her inside. But then, Hunter asks Tech, if he can fake some chain codes, which he says he can. But then, you see Omega back on the Bad Batch's shuttle in the gunner seat, upset. And, we see her take off her Camino headpiece thingy and whatnot. And then it cuts to Hunter, Cut, and Sue talking. And, Hunter asks them to take Omega with them when they leave. And they ask if that's what he wants, but he responds by saying it's what she needs. But then we see Tech and Echo on the shuttle come up with a plan to forge some chain codes. And Tech's plan is to get the shuttle impounded so that they can infiltrate the place and steal the data and find some discs and whatnot. Which they do that. And they don't tell Hunter until afterwards. He's very upset and reveals that Omega is on board. He then reveals herself to Tech and Echo, and this one was funny. She's like, I think it's a very good plan, Tech, and whatnot. But then the ship arrives at the place, and they hide while the clones investigate. But then after they leave, they come out, and then Echo heads to this one building, and takes the data and steals the discs, and then heads back to the shuttle. While Hunter, Cut, and the rest of them arrive at the spaceport, and Tech starts getting the codes made, but then Hunter starts to get uneasy. But Tech says he just needs to get the discs to them unnoticed, which then Tech and Echo hear some noise and go look out the cockpit, where they realize that Tech's probably not going to be unnoticed. But while they're doing that, Omega steals the discs and decides to head to Hunter herself. But then you see Tech and Echo trying to get the ship undocked, and then unintentionally creating some distraction for Omega, because all the clones then figure out what they're doing and whatnot. But then Omega runs into this astromech droid who starts to go off, alert some others, but Wrecker is there to save her. And so then Omega runs over and gives them the chain codes. And there, Hunter tells her that, she's going with Cut and his family, which, she doesn't want to, but Hunter insists. But then, we see Cut use the chain codes, and, they work and whatnot. Then Hunter goes back and, backs up the rest of the Bad Batch, and they fight their way out. And when they're about to leave, Wrecker asks where Omega is, and Hunter is about to tell him, but Omega appears, and then she comes aboard and whatnot. And then we see Cut boarding his ship, but when the clone stops him, and, because he looks similar, but another clone comes up and tells him that they need reinforcements, so Cut is able to board and leave. And then we see the Bad Batch shuttle get up and leave the planet also. But then once in space, we see Omega come up to Hunter and tell him that she's got a lot to learn, but this is where she wants to be. And, Hunter tells her that he's got a lot to learn also, and if this is where she wants to be, it's where she's got to be. And that's where the episode ends. So, like I said, I quite liked it. I really like seeing Hunter and Omega's relationship grow. Even though, like the leaving the child with someone else trope, and obviously an overused one, but I still liked it in this episode. Also, it was great to see Cut again, and whatnot. Also, I like Tech and Echo. They're kind of back and forth when they're coming up with a plan and then doing it and whatnot. I enjoyed. But yeah, I thought it was a pretty good episode. But my grade, I'm gonna give it an A-. So yeah. But anyways, next episode comes out next Friday, so I'll be doing a review of that then. But in the meantime, you can check out my review for the first episode. And yeah, I might maybe do like another video on the Bad Batch in between, but we'll see. But yeah, anyways, for now I've been Sarzun. I'll catch you guys in the next one.
What else you got? Give me more! Our squad's nothing but trouble. But we get the job done.